I'm excited to teach today, but I'm a little nervous because usually when I come, I'm very visual and I have lots of stuff to show you, so it doesn't make me nervous. And I at least have a PowerPoint to go through so that I feel like I'm not up here alone. But with this class, it's more of a workshop, so it's a little thing just to kind of teach you how to work with FamilySearch and Ancestry together, and so it's a live thing. So bear with me because I haven't done this before. It makes me a little nervous. I've done it one-on-one, but not in the class. So first thing I want you to do is look at this word here. What does this mean to somebody? Synergy, what does it mean? What does synergy mean? I'll read this. It says, this is from the dictionary. Synergy, it's a noun. It says the interaction or cooperation of two or more organizations, substances, or other agents to produce a combined effect greater than the sum of its separate efforts. The synergy between an artist and a recording company. So it's like a marriage. So good marriages have a few things that make so that I am capable of doing quite a bit. My husband's capable of doing quite a bit, but when we get together and we work and listen to each other, we accomplish way more. And that synergy happens. And that kind of thing is what you want on all your relationships. It's what you want because then you're more productive. It's like the oxen. They got the yoke and they put it on the two oxen. One ox can pull this much, this ox can pull that much, but together they get more power and they can really power through and they can do so much more than they could do without. This is what I love that word synergy, because FamilySearch and Ancestry, when Ancestry partnered with FamilySearch, and it's been over 5 years ago when they did this, but the one thing that they did is they made it so that you could use the two platforms side by side and integrate together so that people weren't redoing the research over and over again, because people go on FamilySearch and do the research, and they go on Ancestry and do the research, and then you go to another site and do the research, and you're just getting a lot of repetitive stuff. So when you do it together, you can pull these up together and you can look and it'll show you what's there on the other side. So you know that you're not repeating, or if you find a difference, you can look and say, oh, which one's right? And then research which one's right and then fix them both, okay? And so this synergy happens with FamilySearch and Ancestry. So it takes two wonderful sites with some really amazing things to offer, but they're very different from each other. And when they work together, the synergy happens, and it gets to the point where your computer from FamilySearch is making your computer from Ancestry smarter. Your computer from Ancestry is making your computer from FamilySearch smarter, and they're working together till the synergy happens that pretty soon they're finding you so many hints, you don't even have to look for records, they find it for you. And to me, that is just life-changing, because that is what makes things work better together. And when it's just like the scriptures that they talk about, the Lord always wants us to be one. He wants us all to be one. Why does he want us to be one? He wants us to be one in all our relationships. He wants us to be one as a group. He wants it, the more you're one, the more you work together, the more that synergy happens, and then miracles take place. And that's what we're here for, is to be able to answer the people that come in's prayers, to help them together, their families on both sides of the veil. And the more we are using the synergy of everything that we can, the better, and the better we are, and the more intelligent we are, the smarter our computers are, and the better we can meet the needs of everybody else. Okay? So keep in mind synergy, because I love synergy. That is so great. The one thing that a lot of times when people come to the center, they'll talk and say, they'll ask me, who do you want to do this? Who will help me do this? Who will help me do that? And every one of us in this center that work here, everyone knows different things. And their skills are vital. Every single person knows something that we need. And when we work together as a team, we can answer anybody's prayers that come in, because we know who to go to and what to do. in our particular group, I have Keith, I work with Keith, and everybody knows how valuable Keith is because of all this technology. But I love working with Keith for one reason is because when a person comes in, he notices this person and he instantly has this thing that can assess this person and see how much they need to be helped and how much they already know. And if they know a lot, he just quickly shows them how to do it and sends them on their way. And if they need more help, he works on it. If they come in and they can't even do it, he literally will do it for him. I watched him the other day do a guy's stuff. Came in for 3 days, did 30 hours worth of work for this guy because he knew he wasn't able to do it himself. And he knew it needed to be done. I love that with Keith. And when I have a problem with technology, I'm right there. Keith, I need your help. Keith, you know. And then we've got Heidi, who is such a good researcher. She is so good. And anytime I get beyond my capacities and I don't know something, like Heidi, can you please help me with this? She's really good with that. And her mind just is phenomenal. And she always, and she's done so much research that she knows where to go and what to do. And when we work together as a team, we got Deanna Mormon, and she does Denmark research, which I have Danish and I have tried and I really struggled with it. And she is teaching me a little bit every time I go, but it's so overwhelming to me. I'm very slow learning that. But I'm so grateful for her when we can call that. We have Norman. If anybody comes in speaking Spanish or has to know anything about that, we grab him. But as we work together, this synergy happens. And we can answer almost anybody's questions that come in. Between that and this, a lot of times we'll have to grab one of our missionaries because they're very good with the technology. They know some of the machines and stuff. But when we work together to help people, that's when the miracles happen. That's when we can answer. So that's why I'm going to show you this today, just with that basic. And is there anybody in here who does not do Ancestry, who does not have an Ancestry account? You do not have an Ancestry account? Okay. Are you a member of the church? Okay. You can get a free Ancestry account being a member of the church. You do FamilySearch?
Yeah.
Okay.
I signed up before the church came out with the account.
Oh, okay. So you might have to make a phone call to fix that, but it can be done. So I will show you afterwards if you want. Since everybody else is already there, we'll skip that part and I'll show you afterwards. But if you go from the FamilySearch site down to Solutions Galleries at the very bottom, or on the right side here, let's get to a tree. Right over here, if you go through the FamilySearch site, let me get a dead person. I always grab a live one, that doesn't help me. Okay. If you go through a family page that someone is dead, and you look over to the right-hand side and you just scroll down here.
That's on the main page now.
It's right here too, but it's not showing me. There it is. It's just, there it is. So if you open that up, sometimes it's closed. You just open the tab, but there's all these places that you can get a free account from the church in any of those places. So if you just click on that Ancestry and go there, it'll show you how to sign up for a new account, or that's how you can go from one to the other. That is how you go from FamilySearch to Ancestry. The thing I'm teaching you today is the opposite. And you got to remember this or you'll get frustrated when you're doing it. You got to start on Ancestry to do this. So you go to your Ancestry account and you pull up somebody in your tree. You go up to tree, grab whichever tree you're doing. And it's not the quickest. Okay, there we go. So let's see, we just got to get a person who is, let's go here. It's a little slow, but it's coming. Okay. There we go. I'm just going to go to a person who's passed away. This is my father. You get on the profile of the person that has passed away, and it'll bring up their page. In their page along this top, right over here is where you search and you can edit and stuff. But this little tree right there, that's your friend. Okay. That is where you link them together. So you go to a dead person. You got to do it person at a time.
because that's the best way to do it, to make sure the research is right. Everybody's like, why can't we just do the whole thing? No, always work with one person at a time. It saves so much on duplication and so much making sure that you've got the right stuff. So one person at a time is just how you want to do it. If you click on that, it's going to give you this, and you're going to have to sign into FamilySearch. I'm already signed in, so it'll be quick. If you're not signed in, it'll give you the thing and you type it in. So then it pulls this up. It changes that little tree to this tree with a check, okay? If you're to a person that hasn't been connected yet, which I don't know if I can really show you an example of that because I've connected everybody. But if you click on this, it will give you an idea. It will give you is this that person? And you'll click on it and you'll say, it'll show them side by side. Is this person the same name as this person? Is his birth date the same? Is his death date the same? Is his parents these guys? Is this his family? And once you know enough that you know it's the same person, you say yes, and you click it together, and then you get this link, okay, on each person. Then you get the link once you've recognized, yes, this is my person on Ancestry. Is that my person on Ancestry is this person on FamilySearch. And you'll click it and it joins them together. Then it gives you this check and it gives you this box. This box gives you lots of different things you can do.
The one that's their ordinance.
See that box right there, ordinance?
And there's a tree in it under the check mark.
So the first thing it tells you is your ordinance information, and his is complete. If there's something that needs to be done, you can go there and see that. This says compare people on FamilySearch, view this person on FamilySearch, add relatives from FamilySearch, and the last one is disconnect the person from FamilySearch. So the first one, I love this compare on FamilySearch, but before I do that, I always go down to this view on FamilySearch. I right click and I open it in a new link, okay? So I'm not losing my place where I am. So you open that person up in a new link and it's right here, FamilySearch, right here, Ancestry, side by side now. Now that I have that opened, I can go to that page anytime I have questions. And if you leave a link open like that, then you can bounce back and forth and not lose your place. So I recommend that you do that. When you go to this compare on FamilySearch, this is an amazing thing. Okay, so it brings up my Ned Downey. On this side is FamilySearch and what I have on FamilySearch on him. On the opposite side is what I have on Ancestry on him. Now, the thing you can do is you can literally go through box at a time. And if mine's going to be a lot the same because I do this a lot, but yours might not be the same at all. Each box may be different. But because I've already moved mine's pretty much the same. But if you like the way one name is better than the other, you just click this box. If I wanted to change this name, I'd click that box and it'll pull it over from FamilySearch to Ancestry. If I like this one better, I'd click this one. If they're both the same, I just skip it. And you go through and you look, oh, there's the birth date. That's the place he was born.
Like one has 19, one has 11. How do you?
Yeah, I'll show you that it's coming. Okay, so the sources, when you look, you can see which one might be the most right. And so this is where you're using your brain power and your inspiration. Because remember, we can't be the answer to your prayers if you're not praying. If there's not a prayer to answer. So always pray before you start, even if it's just a little prayer in your heart. Have that prayer. You'll go through and look at the differences. So if one of these was different than the other one, I would stop there and I would go over here and look and see, oh, what sources does they have for that? What sources go with that? Or I'd go back to FamilySearch and I'd say, what sources do they have? And then I would decide which one's right, which one's correct. If somebody has 10 sources and somebody has no sources, they said, my grandma told me, which one's going to, fly. And remember with when you're doing research, it's just like getting a drink of water in the spring. Where do you want to get your drink from? Clear downstream, or do you want to get it right from where it's coming out? Just depends on if you like good water. You want to get it where it's coming out. Yeah.
So are you going to click on the Benjamin Cemetery because it's more complete?
You can, if you want, just depending on what you want to do. Sometimes it's just a date, sometimes it's a place, sometimes this one, but this one says, so like she says, this is Benjamin Cemetery. And that one just says Benjamin. So if you want to add that information to the other one, then I would say absolutely. So you'd click that and it'll bring it over. Anything you click on this side will take FamilySearch information and put it on Ancestry. Everything you click on the other side will bring it back this way. So you can actually do that, all that in just go down, do your clicks. It'll just pull over any information you want that way. Okay.
So when you click the box, that means you're syncing from.
It's
the other-
copying it right to the other side.
So the non-click box is being populated by the click box.
Yes. And if they're new, it automatically add them. And then you can go through and change, use your inspiration, use it as much as you want. If you are someone who's done a whole bunch of work in Ancestry and you want to move it to FamilySearch and you haven't time, this is your best friend. Because you can just pull up all that research is good and right because you've worked on it. So you pull that up and you just check all your boxes and pull it over. Okay. And you can do it the same way as if you have a person, you jump into Ancestry and you have nothing on this person. You can see everything that's on FamilySearch and bring it over. And what that does is make it so that now you know what's on both of those sites and you're not going to redo any of that stuff because you've got it together. And when it does that, all of a sudden, all those blanks are filled in. Then you don't have to worry about that. You can just go ahead and move on.
So once I click that box, the sync automatically happens.
Not till the very end. There's a place I'll show you where you click it. This, you're still going through and checking. The marriage data, you can pull that over. There's lots of marriage stuff. I don't usually.
I got two marriages and the other one had one.
Because there's two sources of marriages on one and there's only one on the other. With marriages, this is just something I do personally because there's so many marriage records that if I have the information on both, I think I'm good mostly with that. Unless I'm researching that person and I need to find a lot about that person. If I'm looking for people that I don't know anything about, then I pull everything over because I'm combing over that with a fine tooth comb, trying to look for one little difference that's going to help me to the next record to find that person. So if you're doing that, pull everything over. Okay. But that's where you can choose. I don't pull all the marriage just because it gets a lot sometimes. Each one of these are documents. If it is on both sides, the documents are in both sides. If not, it'll have the square box. Here's a new one, 1850 census, 1950 census. Click it and it'll move it over and it puts it right in sources. Okay. The one thing that you have to worry about is when you do this, it doesn't automatically date them if you're taking them from Ancestry to FamilySearch. And I'll show you that in a minute here. It pulls it over and it puts it in the sources. These are all going to be here because it's my dad. This is Ancestry Family Tree, and this is just one more of my things that I don't do. I don't use someone else's Ancestry tree as a resource because I don't know where they got their information. So that's just personally I don't use. I don't move that over. If it's another person's tree, I don't worry about it because I don't know where they got the information unless I do a bunch of, more work. So I usually just leave that one. You can, I check them and see what they, if they might have something I'm not aware of, and then I can check it out. But unless I know it's a really documented person, I don't want to copy mistakes. So then when you get here, you just say save changes. All those documents from each side changes over. All the information changes over. If you have a lot of them, I suggest you do all the Ancestry ones, then save it, then open it up again, and then do the other ones, because sometimes it gets a little overloaded and then it won't work properly. You got to do it again. So I mean, it'll copy 50 easy, but if you're getting more than 50 things you're transferring, I would save in between just because it's more efficient that way. And then it doesn't do the overload thing. Okay. Is there any questions? Am I going way too fast or way too slow or?
I think we just have to try it.
Yeah, this is something you're just gonna have to go in and try, and we'll give you some time to do that here in a minute, but when you do that, you always go to this save changes, then that's when the transfer happens. When you save the changes, we can save changes, but we don't have any changes, but it'll still go where we want. So then it pops you back to him. And then you can look down here and see all these that's there, okay? If you have, this one thing I want to stress. Some people think if you've got one 1950 census, you're good. Okay? Or if you have one marriage record, you're good. And they're kind of house cleaners and they want to go in and get rid of all the documents except one of each. Don't do that. Because every place like Ancestry, FamilySearch, MyHeritage, every place has they have did the indexing differently. Okay. So like one company may open the marriage record and they will just only copy, come on in. They will only copy just the line on the record, just the line. Okay. Like another company may open to the front of the book and give you all the information of the book. Some of them will open to the back of the book and give you the back of the book. Some of them will look up and give you all the information across the top. But depending on who indexed it, you may have different information come to you, which is really important to think about, because sometimes the very way I have found missing people when I'm doing really deep research is when I have got the same record I had on FamilySearch and the same record on Ancestry and looked at the differences. Sometimes missing babies show up. Sometimes, you know, it's just amazing the things and the little pieces that will connect you. So if you're going to do deep research, it's very vital. It's not really that vital if you're doing your third great grandpa that you knew. But when you're looking for people, it's vital. So always remember, don't worry if there's 100 sources, because guess what? It doesn't matter. It holds a lot more than that. And some people think, oh, and they'll go on. I've had people go on and just delete all the marriage. There was 12 marriage records, so I deleted them, and I'll have to write them a little note and say, hey, if you would have opened each one of those records, you would have realized the first one was the couple's marriage. All the rest were their children, and you've just deleted all their children's records that we had attached. And they look the same when you're looking, and they think they're the same, and they're not. So I don't think you need to keep them if they are the same. If you open them all up and it's the same, then you could delete one. That's no problem. But I don't spend a lot of time worrying about that as much as I want to gather the information so that you can bounce to the next thing. Because usually when you're missing something, or if you've got a brick wall, it's because you're missing one little detail to get you to the next record. But if you will do FamilySearch and Ancestry together, amazing things happen. And this is one of the reasons I love it the most. Ancestry's, their search technique is just unbeatable. Their algorithms for their search, they can find you things that are just incredible. FamilySearch is good. Ancestry's is better. FamilySearch is better at some things than Ancestry. But when you work them together, the synergy pops in. And pretty soon, FamilySearch is making Ancestry smarter. Ancestry is making FamilySearch smarter. And then all of a sudden, every time you open it up, you'll come up here to these hints right here. And where it says one hint, you'll be messing around. You put 5 or 6, you add 5 or 6 documents or pop it back and forth like this, and you'll open that up and there'll be 10 hints that you can go through and look. And the computer thinks, and it's pretty high percentage that the computer thinks it's pretty much them. If they have a common name, you got to be careful, because that, you know, could not be them. And then that you have to make your computer a little smarter before it starts getting you the right person. But when you do that, these hints grow, okay? And then when you pop back into FamilySearch, same thing, your hints will come up right up here, okay? If you have a hint right here, that's FamilySearch finding you a hint. It's a document. You just go ahead and go in and attach it with your source linker. And you bounce back and forth doing this. And I have Krista Cowan from Ancestry, she's their corporate genealogist. A lot of you have probably heard her talk. She's the barefoot genealogist, if you don't know who she is, but she always talks and has a lot of classes on this. And I watched a lot of the classes. And she says that when these things work together and they do this, they are getting the low-hanging fruit. And when you do this, if you will work this from Ancestry to FamilySearch, back and forth like that, it will find stuff for you and you'll be getting a really robust profile for each person. So instead of 10 sources, it might have 60 sources. And 60 sources makes it more robust. You've got more information, you've got more detail. And so then if you have to go somewhere and find a document, a lot of people come in and they say, I want to find a marriage document of this person. And all they know about the person is their name and maybe a year. And that's it. And they're going to look for a marriage document. The problem with this way of doing it is if you find the marriage document, there's no way you know it belongs to them because you don't have enough information. So you've got to work it like this together with FamilySearch and Ancestry like this, finding your stuff until you get their profile so robust. When you find a document, there is no question whether or not that document belongs to them because you know enough and you've got enough blanks filled in that you know that belongs to them and you know who their family is, okay? Now, when I do this, the most important thing I can teach you is think about what kind of documents you can show up in, okay? So let's say what kind of document would you show up in? You might have a marriage record with your spouse, okay? Any of your children that got married, you're going to show up on theirs as the mother, okay? Any of your siblings, you could show up on any of their documents. Obituaries, yeah. That's everybody. You can show up on everything there.
Hope I'm not in.
So you want to do, you're probably in a lot of them because you've had parents die. So you will show up on all your parents' obituaries. And that can be hooked to you as a document. So when you're trying to find something about one person, you're not done just when you research and got all their documents and you're done. And why am I brick wall? Why isn't this working? No. Have you done all their children? Have you done all their siblings? Have you done their parents? Once you get all that, then you're close. Okay. And then you can go look for a document. But you can show up on any of those documents and you can attach them. And any one of those documents might have that little piece you need to get to the next document. Okay. Does that everybody understand that? It's my soapbox, so I have to. Because some people, they just want to work. Oh, well, this is the only person. I just want to know about him. I don't want to know about his family. Like, how do you even know if it's him if you don't research his family? Because sometimes names and dates don't help you at all because they change. But once you find the family, you know you're right because family, you start looking at the brothers and sisters, you start looking at their children, you're like, yes, this is them. You've seen an obituary, you know how they hook. So you know you found it, okay? So that's really something I can't stress enough. Okay. So when you go to FamilySearch and you go to these sources, he's got 60 sources. Now, when you go down here and right here, they date them. And when you date your stuff, always date everything you put in FamilySearch. And don't just put it randomly anywhere. Go into the details and date it in the details because that is what programs your computer. That date. Doesn't matter where else you put the date. If you don't put it in that place, the computer doesn't know that date. Okay? So you need to put that date in. When you pull these over, yes.
Biography. How do you date that?
Okay. That is kind of up to you. I usually will either do it at the beginning or the end. So I will either start with a birth date or a death date. And I usually do it that way. Because really, if you do it as a continuous, this time period, it doesn't help your computer. Computer only can see the first thing you put in there. So if you want to, whichever one, I usually put them at the end or the front. And when you get them dated, people's always saying, oh, you can't move your stuff around in FamilySearch and you can't get it in order. Well, if everything's dated, if every single thing you put in FamilySearch is dated, it comes up chronological order. Everything of mine is chronological. Wonderful. Because then you could go through and write a story about that person just by going from picture to picture to document to picture and just cut and paste, and you've got a whole history. And their timeline, it'll come up on the timeline, and your timeline's fabulous. So always put the metadata.
I have some documents that the church has put into each of your family, like ancestry or file, and you click on it, and I don't know where it leads me to, Timbuktu or something. I don't see a value of some of those unique things, and they have no dates. You just leave those alone, or?
Well, when I don't see value in stuff, I see no reason to not delete it, but someone else might find value in it, because this site is for a million people that think a million different ways. So I personally don't delete because it might help someone else. So I just leave it because it's not bothering me. There's not a limit of how many you can have. So I don't worry, and I don't waste time doing that as much as I waste time gathering stuff and making sure people are right and correct, and making sure there's a source for them, and making sure that, the families are together. So that's what but you can do it. Everyone has different things that they do with FamilySearch. So just because I do it that way doesn't make it right for everyone, because everyone does it differently. And that's one reason I won't look at it and go, I don't understand what that's helping at all. So I don't waste my time doing it, but I don't delete it for someone else. Because like I say, they might know something about something that I have no idea about, because every time I go to a class, I learn something new. And I've been doing this for 50 years, and I still learn something at every class, and things change.
These sources, like a biography, where you put the place, we have sources when we put in the document, copy it into our memories, whatever, it asks for the title, where they're from, where the source is, the date, and then source.
So you're talking when you go to memories, and you go here, and you look here in this edit right there. That is what programs your computer, those 4 things. That's where you have to have it in. If you put the date anywhere else, it's nice the date's there, but it's not helping your computer bit. Okay, so you got to go into the details. This is called the metadata. You have to enter it there to have your computer get it. Just when you find a document and attach it, that computer doesn't automatically go through and say, oh, I'm gathering all this stuff out of this document. Computers don't work that way. They have to be programmed. And this is your programming of your computer.
You may know the place where this picture is taken, but I have a few photos where I have no idea where my uncle and aunt standing in front of a pine tree were and what their ages are.
Well, and the thing of it is, you look at it and you do your best guess. And if all you can do is guess a year, I was going to say, you guess a year, and if you look at mine and it's a year, it's an about. Because I'd have a date if it wasn't an about, okay? But if it says a year, you guess a year. Now, if you guess, your computer will look 10 years this way, 10 years that way. Pretty soon you'll have a document that says the exact date of a lot of stuff, and you can fix it that way, okay? Or you'll have a newspaper clipping that talks about it. A lot of times I'll have a newspaper clipping that actually has the photo on, because they put that photo in the newspaper, because they didn't have a lot of photos, and they used them for the newspaper. So, but if you don't guess a date, your computer won't even look. If you put a person's name in there and expect them to find something, no computer will even search for a name with no date. So if you don't at least guess a birth date, and you can guess, I have guessed, you can just guess a year, and then it'll start searching. Is this them? Is this them? And it starts giving you hints. And then pretty soon, you know which one's them, because you found an obituary that has their parents in, so you know it's them. And then you can go from those dates, and then you go and try to get closer and closer to the source, like we talked about drinking water. The best source is a source that was recorded right when that event occurred. So if you were born, it'll have your birth date on there. Somebody was there that said, yes, this is when they were born. That's a good document. That's a primary source. If they wrote about it in the paper, that's great. You probably get the date. But it's not, when you're weighing them against each other, the document is more important. So, but you take whatever you got. If you've got a birth date on Facebook, you can pop that in there. It's not going to be near as right as a document would be. Okay, so anything that is recorded at the time of the event is your best. That's what you want to prove every date if you can. You can't always get that. So you use what you've got until you get there. Okay? Yes.
Once you put information in and you have a picture and you say, "Ah, it was done in 1965, but I don't know the exact date." And if somebody went in and looked at that picture and I says, "I know exactly when that date."
Yeah,
Could they go in and put the right date on there?
they cannot.
Can they override what you've
You
done?
can't, when you put something in, you're responsible for the metadata.
They can put a note.
They can tag them. They can say, "Oh, I know this is my aunt." They'll let them tag them now. But they cannot change your stuff if you put it in.
You're talking about pictures.
Pictures or, yeah, they can't change
Or
it
the
there.
information.
And if somebody's, and if,
They-
yeah, if somebody's kind enough to put a note in. And
But
say,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
think I know
If they
this,"
put a note, you can copy it and paste it and put it
and I
in.
say, "I agree with that," then you
Mhm.
could change your.
Now,
date.
so say your aunt added a picture and you can't date it and it's driving you crazy because it's not in chronological order. So I have to type a little message. Would you please date this under the details?
You don't have somebody else
Because the
stepping
person,
on your word.
Yeah.
You're the
Nope.
one that has control.
you have control of that photo.
Okay,
With
good.
photos and stuff like that, that is the one really good thing. They can't change that on FamilySearch.
Yeah, I've noticed that when I work in Ancestry, it shows up in FamilySearch as recently viewed.
Yeah,
Yeah, it does.
because they work together. And that synergy is happening and they have made each other so much better. And they're so different from one another. And the church can utilize all ancestry stuff without getting in trouble. Church has to be real careful about what they do because they get in trouble really easily. People are just waiting for them to do something wrong. But they can get away with it through Ancestry because that's not their site. And so they can use the benefits of that without having to worry about it. And so that's another one of the reasons they work so well together. And it's just awesome that they do. Other sites are this way too, but this is the one that has the biggest powerhouse. And if I work things in FamilySearch and Ancestry together, get it all together, get the computer working and smart so that it'll find me stuff and get all that low hanging fruit. I a lot of times don't have to look for anything else because I've got everything I need. But if there's some things missing for certain reasons, then you know right where to go, what to look for. And then you can spend your 2 hours looking for something on something you really need to find. Okay. Instead of what, and it's like with those a lot of people that come in and they'll sit down and say, they ask the wrong question when you're helping them. They come in and they want to jump to the end, find who this guy's parents are when they know nothing about this guy. Okay. So back up a couple generations, get it real robust, make sure you're on the right family, make sure you got the right person, and then work on him and make sure work on all your families and do this. And every once in a while, after you've been doing some more research and adding stuff and you've got all these hints you've added, then you need to jump back. You need to go back here to Ancestry and jump up here to this little thing and pull that up, compare. And when you compare it, you'll find all the ones you've worked on are new ones that you can move over. So once you've done it, you're not done. But it is a tool to use to keep moving things back and forth until it's all there. Okay. Is there any questions about that? Did I explain it well enough or did I?
Can I follow up
Yes.
with the biography question that somebody asked earlier? If there's a lot of biographies that are written out there and they want to put it in their sources or their memories or whatever portion. If I were to download a biography of a family member in there and somebody saw that I had downloaded his biography and Grandpa John basically in his biography disclosed some things that I'm not sure I want everybody to know about, he got a conviction or something, he disclosed it in his biography. Did somebody come in and delete that biography? Because I don't want it to be in there, or do they have to be?
They can't delete it, but they
can't?
can go to FamilySearch and make a complaint and then FamilySearch will review it.
So
And if there's
FamilySearch-
something that FamilySearch is against, it's against their policies, they'll probably delete it.
So FamilySearch can override all that and just go in and delete it if they
Uh-huh.
need to.
And remember, FamilySearch, it's not even really about whether it's right or correct or who wants this or who doesn't, but FamilySearch is looking out for everyone. And they are trying to make sure that everybody plays nice in the sandbox because we're supposed to be one or our synergy doesn't happen. We need to be one. And so we don't want to fight with people. We don't want to argue with them. We don't want to say, I know this is right. And why are you doing this? And when I feel that way, I turn the computer off and I walk away and I calm down. Then I come back and email them. Because if I email, I'll be offensive even when I think I'm not, because I'm hot-headed, you know? And then I'll take them off and then they don't talk to me. And then what good did that do, you know?
Curious, does FamilySearch have bylaws as what they would delete if they had to, or?
Yeah.
I can tell you they'll delete any patriarchal blessing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's too sacred. They don't want them in.
Okay,
It's just too
I ended
sacred.
up very short of my, I think, second great grandfather. And I titled it patriarchal blessing. Maybe if I would have just titled it blessing.
They might not have caught it if
they
you,
might not have caught it.
yeah. But they will delete things that are too sacred
You have a
or things that are
judge,
against any of their principles.
unity in the picture,
Yeah.
Swimming suits, babies, diaper, yeah.
Even swimming suits that are the old time that are more modest than what we're wearing
they
today,
won't do.
they still delete them.
Will they send you a note saying we had to delete it, so you know?
Yes,
Yeah, they send you back a thing that says this photo's been rejected.
yeah. I had.
And you can dispute it. You can go back on and type in the thing that says, this shouldn't be deleted, and then they'll have a person look at it and they'll sometimes let it by.
I put in some TIV cards, simple index zero cards, and they deleted it.
Mm.
So I went back in and titled it, put it back in.
Does Ancestry have similar bylaws that
No.
FamilySearch? So they're a
No.
little bit more liberal?
Yeah.
What can go in?
Oh, yeah. I have probably almost twice as many photos as I have in Ancestry as I have in FamilySearch.
Not quite.
Because my family are hunters, fishers, trappers, none of that. Right now, they will let fishing pictures get by, but they have to be looked at individually. And they say if it's okay. But if you have a dead deer, a dead animal, a bear, a coyote, anything that's dead, they're done. Because the site that keeps the porn off are animal activists and the people they use. So you have to go with their whole site or none. And keeping the porn off is so important. And so I don't worry about it. I just use FamilySearch and Ancestry together. If you want to know what all my pictures of or want any pictures of any of the men in our family, you've got to go to Ancestry because they all have a dead something because they are always fishing. They've always got a fishing pole in the water, if nothing else, if they aren't hunting or trapping, you know, so yes. I mean, and that's another one of the reasons you can also get by in Ancestry by putting a link to, like, say my YouTube video. If I put they seem to leave it. If you put a link in FamilySearch, it's gone instantly because anybody could go in and just put porn links in.
Right.
So I understand that. And you just have to use each site for what it is and work them together. I don't know how I could ever do FamilySearch without both of them together. I don't know. And I don't know how I would find people because they bounce off each other. And the little differences, that's how it works. That's how it works so good. Ancestry, I have the newspaper.com with that because I tried it once and I thought, oh, I'll just try it for 6 months. It was cheap for 6 months and I tried it and I can't not do with it now because I love the newspaper clippings. And those newspaper clippings pop up and they fill in all those gaps to the next record. And all of a sudden it starts making sense. And all of a sudden you get a whole sense of this family of all these newspaper clippings. And so to me, when I jump on, I love to look at the hints and I love to find newspaper clippings because to me, that's like Christmas morning, opening presents. It's fun for me. And as cheap as it is, it's cheaper than going to a movie, way more entertaining for me. Because I love to know everything about everyone. And it's just how my brain works. And I love, and also with the newspapers, you can find living people stuff, lots of living people. So if you're trying to put families together and get the children and make sure you're including everybody when you don't have access to those people, it's perfect to go through because everything's in the newspaper. And so it just saves you. And I love them.
You have a lot of your Ancestry and FamilySearch merged. I do not. Do you want to try and show where you could really actually compare?
I didn't hear you. Tell me again.
I haven't used Ancestry a lot. I want to.
Oh, you haven't?
I keep getting hundreds of hints.
Oh, yeah.
And I've just been too busy. But I'm saying, if you want to show where yours is way done, you want to show how to compare to, where you can show how to click and check.
Oh.
If I put mine up there.
Oh, yeah, we could probably do that.
Or
Come
does
here.
somebody else have one?
Anybody want to do that? Yeah, Angela, come here.
Say, you've got so much already done, and I don't. And I.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to show everybody, but I'm like, and then I thought, I wonder if I should use my husband's side. And then I thought, well, I don't have permission for them to use it in a class. So if she'll do it with hers, I can show you.
While she's doing that.
We're gonna let her do it and I'll just sit down here and walk her through it.
Well, that's maybe scary.
You're gonna, you see, just to show you how easy it is, we're gonna have her do it.
I have to sign you out, I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey,
Okay.
Rose, while she's doing that, you showed us how to sync individuals. Can you sync a family tree
Okay,
from
here.
there over to there?
You can move a family tree. There's a couple things that will do that will move the whole thing. There's also one place on there, when I didn't get down to my last two tabs yet. But on the one tab, it says, add people from FamilySearch. So it will show you.
See,
Here's
see, here's
Ancestry.
solutions
You got this
gallery.
person, so you will get add person from
See that?
FamilySearch. And it will bring up everybody in FamilySearch, and then you can click each one of those dots and add them. And it'll bring all their information from FamilySearch right over to your Ancestry. And you can do that on any of them that direction, okay? There is one thing on there that if you go to the bottom and it says, add up to 4 generations for this person. So when you click on that, it will bring 4 generations of stuff. It does not bring your photo.
That's me.
You still have to move your photos separate. Okay, because you're supposed to be making sure you have.
Oh, just a minute.
permission.
I was already
Everything's
signed in,
supposed
just
to
a
be
minute.
on copy. So if they did that, it would be a breach of people getting permission.
So let's take family search over ancestry. On your trees, 4 generations.
Four
Can you do it the other way too? Ancestry to family search?
No,
So it's just family search to ancestry.
I'm gonna have to go get my
One
sign
thing
in.
I like about Ancestry is it gives potential ancestors,
yes,
and I love that.
it's fabulous,
It
because if you
gives
got
you
it,
lots of,
if you got a person to check to see, it's so easy to check to see if they're right or wrong.
yeah.
But if you don't have anybody, coming up with it isn't as easy. So I like it too. Did you do it? Oh, you're still signing in. So anyway. But that is, there is limits, but I love the way they do it, because if they did it too many people at once, you'd have so much duplication, and I would be spending my whole life merging, because most of the people don't know how to merge, they're at home doing it. Unless they come in here and learn how, then we're sitting there merging everybody, right? Somebody dies and they have 12 people to merge together for one person. And so if they moved over too many people at once, and especially if they hooked to somebody that wasn't really their family, then you're climbing the wrong tree, and you jumped over that. So I like it better one person at a time for that reason.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine, but we'll show you how wonderful this works, if you can do that, because I wanted to show somebody, but I kept looking through my finger there, and I'm like, I have done everything.
And don't tell
It's
me,
been going on for 5 years, I've been doing this for 5 years, so.
it's not letting me in. Maybe I'm gonna have
Any
to.
other questions while we're waiting for her to log in? There is none. Anybody can do that, just remember where to go for your icons, and when you pull that out. Oh, and one last thing, the very last thing says detach this person. So the first thing is you attach the person, so that they're seen. But then, so say somebody on FamilySearch has a duplicate, and they take all these people and they merge them.
Crap.
Sometimes when they merge them, the person you're hooked to gets gone.
Yeah,
If
I'm
that
gonna bring
happens,
you
you'll
over.
click on there and it'll say, this person's not there. Or has been deleted. And so if that's the case, you need to go in there and delete them, go to the bottom and take them off, and then click again to add them, and then it'll show you the new person. And you click them on there and then they're fixed. So that's what that bottom one's for. Because that's, I don't know what else you'd use it for. That's about it. So that's what all those little things do. Let's see if she.
I have to use my Gmail. That's fine. Yep, go ahead. It's my Gmail.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I don't ever sign in. It just usually comes up. Yes. I have a question.
Yes.
You were talking about all the marriage records. I do a lot of standardizing dates and places on marriage records. And sometimes it won't let you do that unless you delete some of them.
Yeah.
And is
So
that,
sometimes there's too many.
is that the only one? And then you'll get to the one it'll let you save.
Yeah.
Cause they'll just say save failed.
There's your phone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I can show you an
Yeah,
example.
no, I know what you mean, because sometimes it just overloads.
But it doesn't really delete the marriage record. It just,
Doesn't attach it.
just the attachment. Okay.
So then you gotta go back.
I don't like that.
Attach it. Yeah. But there's a lot of marriage records, and I've got one lady that was just.
Maybe we're not supposed to see my stuff.
Doing that.
Okay, I'm in.
Oh, you're in.
Okay, so I have to choose somebody in my
Do
tree,
somebody.
in my
That's
tree.
a person, remember that, some people think, oh, I couldn't do myself. They're walking, they're not walking. Privacy won't let them do that with things. They have a hard to, you know, but dead people, they've got a different,
Do they have the same 110-year rules?
who, Ancestry?
Yes.
They don't do ordinance work, so they don't have anything. They just, you do the ordinance work on FamilySearch.
Be in their system, you could, it can't be live, so if somebody is over 110 years old.
Then it automatically be dead without a date, yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna search her, right?
Yep.
It's my
Oh,
phone.
no, don't do that.
Okay, what do you want me to
Okay,
do?
okay,
Go to her profile.
go to the profile.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to her profile.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Okay, now remember, can anyone remember the icon? Let's see if I taught anything.
you guys,
The little tree, he said, look at the little tree. Sign in. Okay, now.
Now
yep,
it's there.
Tree with a check.
I'm gonna
Now you
compare.
can compare. And here we are. Her name is spelled the same and the same on both. What do we got? We got a birth of 1931 and we've got a whole date here.
So we want the whole
So
day.
if you click the whole date, it will pull over.
Okay,
It's actually the same place. It's just written a little differently.
Same thing with her
your
death
date's
date.
the same. Help her out if she has something different, guys.
burial,
Burials on both of them.
there's her spouse. Oh, my 7 children. Okay,
Yeah, and I don't usually add them there. I just go down to here because I like to do them one person at a time.
so we have these
So none of
sources.
these documents have been moved. So she's going to click each one.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, if you get over 50, I suggest you save and then come back. But if you have,
She's taking her sources from FamilySearch over to Ancestry.
her family search sources.
And I
going
did
into
do a
the-
couple from Ancestry.
Okay, so that's it on those.
Those are all the
Until
same.
you go to the bottom, and now this is where it starts for the opposite direction.
How can you make more hours in our day?
I know, right? It's wonderful though, because it's such a good
It's
tool.
called prayer to live.
Such a good tool.
I have so many hints on Ancestry and my husband works on it all the time while I'm running around here like a crazy lady and I just need to be able to do that.
But when you get those hints and you started.
I don't know if
typing
I'm
those
up to
hints,
50 or more.
It does
Yeah.
some wonderful things. And I love Ancestry. One of my, of course, you know how excited I am over newspaper articles, but also
And they have my mother's yearbooks and
that's what I
I,
was gonna say. The yearbooks is my next favorite because you can get a yearbook picture. And when you attach
I'm
those
hoping it's
yearbook
better than the
pictures,
ones I have. Maybe I'm at 50 because it's not long.
but if you use FamilySearch and Ancestry, you can pop that into Ancestry, edit it, and it'll sharpen it. You can restore the color and you can colorize it so
Okay.
it looks like a photo.
So now I can save the changes.
And then
here.
you save it and pop it back in.
Ready? I'm gonna
Yep,
save.
save changes and let's see if we didn't overload it, it's gonna do some wonderful stuff here.
This is my mom, by the way.
There it is, it worked. When you get that worked.
It's all there.
All those are changed. Now, so you look down here and look at all these that she has that she didn't have.
Yeah.
She brought over.
I brought over.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
everything's there. And now I
if
can
you go to Family
Family
Search, I can show them, oops.
I gotta just go up to the tree.
Oh, what didn't we do? We didn't click and open it, view them in another tree
Tree.
or view them in another window. If you do that, then they're there and you just bounce back and
Yeah,
forth.
and I didn't do that.
So remember that.
Yeah.
Okay. But we got her here and we're going to go to her person. Okay.
Now look at these sources. There's 42 sources there. But if you click on them, go to the bottom, you're showing me these are all the sources you had. But as you go to the bottom, the world is from somewhere else. So these are all from Ancestry. But if you will go and click on that and put add right here, and then you look in it and see what date you have and add the date there, that's making your computer smarter. That's where it's missing the date. It won't pull the date over. You have to manually go in each one of them and add the date.
So I have to
And then
add,
your computer knows that that marriage record was that year. And then it can go that year and look for marriage records and things about those people in that place in that year.
do I have to know the month or just the date, year?
Yeah, just the year, whatever you've got. You can, and you can click right inside it and look, and you can copy and paste the dates. But see, that's the date. I usually just take
Oh.
that and copy it and then put it right in, and you've got the date of the newspaper clipping. Marriage
Right
record.
click, copy.
Yep, copy and then just paste it in there.
It'll
And as
just
soon as
take
it
the
gets
year.
pasted in there, that computer knows the date.
You just want the year?
No, it gave me the
It
whole
will grab
thing.
The year, you can put the date in, and it'll just grab the year.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, the computer will grab the year, but you can put the whole
That's
date.
the year.
But
So
don't
now
put
it's-
range, because it messes it up.
So in that case, the globe means, ancestry, right?
Yeah, that's an ancestor, or it could be anywhere else in the world.
Okay.
It'd probably show up
So
like that if
now
it was from a different site. But it brings all the metadata, it brings the record, but it doesn't date it to that computer. But as you date that computer, then that computer gets smarter, it finds more hints, then you come back here and you got more hints.
So
You
here, do I
go
just
back
put
and-
1950?
Yeah, so it's just really nice that it just does it all.
That's the census. So I just put 1950.
Yep. So that's what you want to do. So if you've got time, you wander through this sources and you add dates, and you add, if it has unattached, other people that are unattached, you go to them and attach the rest of the family. And if you do those,
Okay.
that also makes your computer smarter.
So do I open this one?
Yeah, you go
Oh,
on
that
the
was-
link, this link opens a thing. You go on the link, it opens it up. And then this is the index place. And if you want to look at the
Says
real
it.
thing, you can go there. The real document, so. Does that make sense to everybody? She did it. Just right there. Was it hard, Angela?
No, it's
The
so
hardest
amazing.
step
I
was
need
her
to,
sign.
it was because I haven't signed in for so.
Try this, and if you can do it, get in here. I'm here on Wednesday mornings till noon every.
She's here
Wednesday,
all the
and
time.
Usually here Tuesday, Thursdays too, mornings.
You're
So-
here every day.
I'm here every day. It's gonna probably get better after next week because my daughter's plays over and I'm not watching kids, so. I'll be able to be here more. But if any, I'd be happy to sit down with any one of you, walk you through it, refresh it, this stuff. If you start to use this, it's life changing and it makes it.
It will just sow your tree on Ancestry. They can't bother it too.
Going through reading and looking and discovering, which makes it, use them. That's why they're there. That's why they're partners.